last day in Europe on Dakar 2007. Before Africa, the small matter of the run to Spain. The crowds out in force again to bid the field farewell. Portuguese riders still enjoying the spotlight. How long their early dominance lasts remains to be seen. But it's all gone sour for some other favourites, particularly in the cars. Water and engine interiors do not mix, ask Ari Vatanen. Well, the Portuguese left the Dakar rally and turned out in force on the opening stage to roar the field by. Some of them got a little close for comfort. Over 500,000 souls on course to witness day one of 2007. It was a busy day yesterday. It all started off shrouded in fog, and that course was already cutting up. Portuguese decided that, well, just to get them ready for the sands and the deserts of Africa, why not have a sandy course? It caught quite a few out. Well, a lot of the privateers getting stuck, down and dirty. Long way still to go. It had only just begun. Well, they knew it was going to be rough. They certainly didn't expect it to be so on the first day. Last thing you want is fog inside your goggles as well. And a greasy mitt quite often does not help one little bit. Incidentally, Mick Extance, with Honda factory backing, finished the day in 36th spot. Ian Myers on a KTM, the MTS KTM, he did good enough to finish 129th, 41 minutes down. As you can see, conditions were tough out there. Steve Malone on the Pro Seal Edmondson KTM, third quickest of the Brits, ahead of Paul Broom on the Theodore Off-Road Assault Honda. Well, some oddbods out there. The 2CV there, twin-engined, one at the front, one at the back, still only 30 horsepower. They were loving it, the crowd cheering them through. Well, the mud was causing all kinds of problems, and it seems the bigger you were, the harder you sank. The bowlers were making light work of it. The Wildcats also out there. Wildcat 200s, Desert Warriors as well in the mix. And what about the big boys? Well, the Brit trucks got very, very stuck. Most of them helping out, you have to say. The Bowler Spirit Assistance Vehicle finished 2 hours and 56 down. Walker Hawkins and the Hunt had a busy day. So did the Frenchman Jean-Marie Lecour on board his Mercedes, alongside Chris Hammond and James Willett. It was tough, it was bouncy, and an awful lot of them got very, very stuck indeed. And it's part of the reason why the trucks on the second day, that's today, weren't allowed to compete. They said the course was just too narrow and they couldn't risk any of them toppling off and down the vales, of which there were plenty. On day one, traffic jams. Who'd have believed it? And look at the crowds getting in front of everybody. Hard to get by. You had to take it so carefully out there. 500,000 people lining the route is not an insignificant number. The worry was they would get in the way. Well, the JCP there on hand to help out. Local building company providing the assistance to Andrei Ivanov. He was pleased. So were the crowds. Behind you, lads. They loved their rallying. Well, one after the other had to slow down for the crowd, and when they did slow down, this was the result. Comedy of errors, perhaps, for some. Lead Brit car, Matthew Stevenson assisting Michael Peterson on board the SMG buggy. Well, that was then, and this was today. Stage 2, Portimao, little loop of 67 kilometers. Doesn't look like much, does it, on the graph? But there was some altitude involved, and it was a bit scary. gravelly out there it was, a much harder surface to contend with, and the Portuguese meant business. Off went Helder Rodrigue. He was gunning for the horizon. Nobody was going to stop him as he made the climbs early on in this 67-kilometre stage. He looked good and in control. He was yesterday, finished second. He went one better today. It was to be a Portuguese 1-2, although some bumps and bruises for Ruben Faria. Yes, indeed, he had a hospital check on his knee. Top 10 finisher in 2006, though, Rodrigue. Twice third on stages. He could well be a top 10er once again this time around. And he went through the water hazards. Yes, that's right. Water on the Dakar. Haven't seen that for a while. Well, he picked his way through. Others weren't so lucky. We'll see more of that a little bit later, particularly amongst the cars. Ruben Faria, also on a Yamaha. Another 1-2 for them. The light skippy bikes just seeming to love it in Europe. Well, Ruben Faria fell en route to the start. Had checks on his knee in hospital. So it's another Portuguese double, but they just kind of switched places today. Crowds were delighted. Stunning scenery today as we headed towards the interior of Portugal. And as you can see, dotted along the routes, the fans out in force once again. Esteban Puyol, 3-3, third home today. He's third overall, 6 minutes and 29 down. Well, quit the rally last year after the death of Andy Caldecott, just couldn't maintain his focus. They say this year he's going to be one of the favourites. Watch him, 2 third places in a row. He could well be a winner this time around. Well, good practice for the helicopters today, as well as our ground crew. David Castor, problem-free for him. Water carrier for Puyol. Starts behind him tomorrow. That's exactly where he needs to be on his 4-stroke 690 KTM rally. Top Brit today, guess who? Mick Exton's, as ever, on board the Honda with factory support. He's doing all kinds of good. Just going a little bit too quick, though, Mick. 10-minute penalty today, along with 18 other riders. Mark Coma, 5th home today. He's 9 minutes 52 off the pace overall. That won't matter too much when he heads to Africa. Mentally, he's set for it. He wears the #1 with pride. He won it last year, of course. Steady as a metronome, constantly on the beat. He'll be there. Well, when the fog finally started to lift with some of the later runners, the performances were lifting as well. Fabien Planet of France, top 10 into Africa for him. 6th today, 5th overall, enduro specialist. Won the Dakar Enduro Challenge late on to get that passport, if you like, to take part. Could be a dark horse on that 525 KTM. Light machine should do well on the faster sections, but, well, you never know when it comes to the heavy stuff. We will see. John Diaz Avedo, 7th today, 16th overall, 14 minutes behind he is. Benefits from the support truck of his brother, and they're sponsored by Petrobras as well. They've got the money behind them and the skills, clearly. Well, the long winding road section suiting David Fretinier. Day one he finished 12th. He's dragged himself back up to 9th, only 10 minutes and 41 down. Best Yamaha rider last year. He's got that 2-wheel drive system on board. He can chop and change it. Not using it today, didn't need to. We will see it for sure when it starts to get a bit soft out there. Giovanni Sala, 15 and a half minutes off the pace, saving his energy for tomorrow, he says, along with some of the Brits perhaps. Extance, Malone and Broome, the 1, 2, 3 for the Brits today. Oh, goodly distance. Mick Exton's down in 39th spot overall, but don't worry too much about him. He'll be all right. Half an hour down, easy make that up. Water today was causing absolute havoc. It wasn't just the bikes, the cars too. And if you get water in the engine, it's a nightmare scenario. You have to stop, clear it out before you can get going again. Last thing you want is to drop it sideways, and some of them did the wise thing and just pushed it through. Plays havoc with electrics. It gets inside the engine. Could be day done, certainly could be challenge over as well. Incidentally, while we're watching all this, just spare a thought for 65-year-old Robbie Allen, brother of Vic, of course, multiple motocross champion. Well, the Mad Haggis, as he's known, Robbie, is out here. And spare your thoughts for him. We'll do our best to have a chat with him at some point on the Dakar. Provided he lasts that long, well, he's still in it. Got to be in it to win it. He'll be in Africa tomorrow, already on the boat. On Jonah Street of the United States, one of those. Just before him, we saw Thierry Bettis on his Honda. The youngster doing well, 12th today. In fact, the leading Honda home. 4 Yamahas in the top 10. The rest, guess what, KTMs. And Pal Anders Oliverseda is on board one of those. Top privateer, flash of green always. Reminds me of Kawasaki. Let's look a long way down the order to find a Kawa here. Cyril Desprez fell avoiding his spectator. He was absolutely livid about it. A bit rueful later on. Jose Manuel Gonzalez leading the quads on his Can-Am. 25th home today. That's not bad on one of these slightly unstable machines. So it's a 1-2 for Portugal. Esteve Puyol finishing in 3rd place. Just watch him. He's going to be ticked off as a favourite here. Kestia in 4th place. And there come the remainders. Cyril Desprez, gearbox, throttle, whole tank. He wasn't happy. Elder Rodrigue first, though. Stage winning, he said, I did very well. Didn't take any risk compared to yesterday. Didn't have to overtake one single rider, so I managed to get through the stage without any problems. It was slippery, lots of ravines. That's why we didn't have any trucks today. Can you imagine one of those going off and meeting a rider coming up one of the paths? Well, he didn't say that, I did. Panels, he said, the sections, very good, allowing you to understand the corners. And, well, the road book was excellent, he said today. Trusted all the indications as far as safety was concerned. And finished with the best time. So slowed down when I needed to. And sped up when allowed. That's the way to do it. Ruben Faria says special stage, not as I expected. Started well, but fell on the way there. Rode very carefully in the terrain. It was a bit slippery. Anyway, the Dakar finishes at the Lac Rose, and I'm in a good position. Lac Rose is my goal, he says. And what about Cyril Desprez? Says somebody came, stepped out, tried to take a picture of me, and well, I just had to avoid him, and down I went, lost a lot of time, damaged the brakes, the gear lever. Nothing seems to work particularly well anymore, but he's only 6 minutes down despite that great fighting spirit for Cyril Desprez. He says it's all about racing, doesn't give a damn about the countryside. He's not there as a tourist, he says. Well, after a successful ski career, Frenchman Luc Alphon could not have imagined that his second career in motorsport would take him to the Dakar. Yet in 2006, he actually won the world's toughest motorsport discipline. Look at him go. And while his Dakar trophy takes pride of place, his Crystal Globe, World Cup champion, skiing. Well, it needs a dust cover. He says that I think the Ski World Cup, that was my roots, my history, my career. Started skiing at 2 or 3 years of age, joined a club at 7. And then there was the French national team. And I started winning very late on in skiing. It hadn't been around 10 years before I started to win. And then all of a sudden it happened. The Dakar was not even a dream, not a goal. When I changed paths, I started to race cars. It was just for a bit of fun, for the pleasure of going fast and enjoying something new. But then the spirit of competition took me back, got inside my head again. I just love to push the limits, train to succeed, and that's what I'm doing.
Elle est en moi, je pense, la compétition. J'aime bien essayer de me dépasser, de m'entraîner, d'essayer de réussir des choses.
Well, Alphon still trains at his home in the mountains, bike riding under his own steam. Cycling says very important for me in terms of stamina. We really have to train for endurance to be able to survive the long stages on the Dakar, and the Dakar is a huge event, so you have to be very, very well prepared, he says. We do some training on the bikes and also with the Mitsubishi team, and I think it's very important, not just for the body, but also for team spirit. We get together 3 or 4 times each season, did a lot of team sports, try different things. This year, we went swimming as well, and some overnight orienteering. It's all part of the bonding process. Well, the team's had a difficult year, he says, since Henri Magny left us. That's why we want to be stronger together, to make the team stronger for the Dakar. And what a team it is. Surely still the favourites. Big news of the day on the cars, Ari Vatanen. No, he didn't win. In fact, he went just a little bit too quickly into a Ford after just 17 kilometres. Not a Ford Pro truck, a Ford. Here he comes. Oh dear. Well, too much of an approach. And suddenly you can hear it, and look what's coming out of the exhaust. Oh dear. Well, the crowd may have liked the drama, but Ari Vatanen and any chance of victory in this year's Dakar just went up with the smoke from his engine. He knew it was his own fault. Same thing happened on the road to Niamey a couple of years ago, you remember that? Well, the last thing a competitor wants is a camera around the place, but he did spare us a few words, which is good of him.
Got water into engine and that's it. Really, this is a catastrophe.
Distressed. Finished 176 out of 177 cars today, even finished behind the 2CV. Yep, Vatanen's challenge surely at an end. Same can't be said for Carlos Sainz. Volkswagen had a fabulous day yesterday, and Carlos Sainz, if anyone's going to upset Mitsubishi, possibly it might be in his hands. Who knows? There's others as well, don't forget. Sousa, the privateer, de Villiers, part of the factory outfit as well. Well, today, Sainz just gunned it. Well, perhaps the WRC type terrain suited him. No end. Look at the set he's got here for the exit on this corner. He wasn't messing about at all. Ran well at the start of 2006, had his troubles. If he can avoid problems, Sainz will be in the frame. Carlos Sousa, well, he finished 9th today, but will start in Africa as the leader overall, leading Sainz by 45 seconds in the standings. So it's all smiles for Volkswagen. That's the way to do it. De Villiers skidding through beautifully. Finished 6th on the day, but he's 3rd going into Africa. And a great water passage for him. Just one of the skills that surely he will display en route to Dakar. So all smiles amongst the Volkswagens. 1, 2 and 3, but Mitsubishi are climbing. They're on the way back. Luc Alphonse finishing 3rd on the day. A harder surface suiting the new Pajeros. Suffered a puncture yesterday. Today, no such problems whatsoever. They could have done with a snorkel, couldn't they? Well, Alphonse taking it nice and steady. Didn't need it. He had his worrying moments, though. Where is the crowd, says Alphonse. There's nobody here. We're on the wrong way. We've gone wrong here. Well, his co-driver Perrin, I beg your pardon, his co-driver Picard, suddenly getting angry with him and says, we are on the correct route. Everything is fine. Just keep going. Well, Alphonse starting to fret here. The arguments went on. You can see the worriment in their faces. Come on. Keep focused. Keep going. Enough. Well, disturbing the fish. Are you likely to catch anything in that puddle today? They were trying. Well, Alphonse had a good day. Finished behind Roma in 3rd place on the day. That looked handy. Stefan Hansel was looking just as good. Roma in 2nd place, Hansel 4th. He was really pushing on the day. Happy with the faster surface and showing his mettle. Also out there and stalking everybody, BMW. There, that's right. Shisharit, part of that challenge. Stopped to help Kleinschmidt yesterday, you may remember. He's still in the frame, very, very much so. He's the lead BMW, 6th overall. Now the tyre, had to stop and change a tyre. Got a... I've only just realised the poetic nature of that. The water splash today just took a little bit of body work out, only cosmetic, no problems whatsoever. He's 9th going into Africa, and that's where he excels. When the soft stuff happens, he loves it. Jutta Kleinschmidt had a better time of things, and in fact moved by Alataya, his sentinel system, beaming up and beaming back down. Vital information that he was about to be overtaken. Jutta still in the frame, half an hour off the pace. No electrical problems yesterday, hopefully behind her. What about Miguel Barbosa of Portugal? The Mitsubishi Straker pickup, 7th today, 5th overall. Could be a wild card. Gosh. Well, the SMG buggy of Matt Stevenson co-driving for Mike Peterson of the United States. Lead Brit car home today, 20th position of Brit interest, I should say. And they're looking handy. 24th overall, ahead of Evanson and the driver Tollefson. Half an hour off the pace. Well, there's all kinds of shapes and sizes out there. Ivan Muller and his Nissan. Fast learner. Only 9 minutes and 27 off the pace. He's 11th going into Africa. Lavey as well, the T2 world champion, also in the frame. And let's not forget Schlesser and his buggy. He doesn't like Europe, wants the long, fast stretches. He's a cool guy. He'll be featuring for sure. 13th going into Africa after finishing 12th today. Now, what about Robbie Gordon? Well, he got beached yesterday, we may remember. Well, through the water okay today. But the drama wasn't finished for the madman in the Hummer. Races just about everything. Loves racing Dakar races in the States, as well as everything else, including NASCAR, and taking the applause. Lots of people waving him through. That's very much the look of a pro truck. It's got the same kind of suspension travel as well. And maybe that's why he rolled it. Oops. 43rd, just 11 minutes off the lead though. It will be dramatic when he starts to get into the faster sections in Africa. How about this for a roll? If you're going to have one like that. Oh yes, all the way over, hit the start button, get on with it. That was Monterdi in his BMW, trying the same thing. Tony Van Dyne. Didn't quite make it though, did he? He did get in though. So, time to wave goodbye to Europe. Stefan Enraad, the Belgian, on board his Volkswagen. Wonderful scenery. They'll be getting even more dramatic when we head over to Africa. Enraad and his buggies, always a pleasant sight. And so, confirmation of today's results. Carlos Sainz is back in action. He means business. Mitsubishi, though, starting to close the gap. Can Volkswagen hold on? Well, they've got some talent on board. You do have to feel sorry for Wouters, though. Let's speak to Sainz and the rest. Well, of course, we'll do well to start out in front. If we don't do well, we start behind. But in the end, I believe it's not too important just yet. My co-driver has a lot of experience, and tomorrow the stage is not a very long one, just a little bit more than 200 kilometers. An introduction to Africa, and then the following days it gets longer and longer, harder and harder. You just can't build tactics into the equation just yet. Well, Lucan France says, we were very disappointed yesterday. All the competitors pushed hard very early. Not a good special stage for us then. We had a puncture, some problems. It was very stressful to open the road, and so we missed our day yesterday. Today, well, we wanted to get back into the fastest group, and that's what we've done. Didn't want to come to Morocco behind too many cars. Well, what was the problem today? And Nani Rome is saying, well, no problem, 5 kilometers before the end, a lot of dust, and got stuck behind Mark Miller, I think it was, he had trouble with. But he says there's no problem, that's what racing's all about. I know Mark, and there's no problem between us.
Yo conozco bien a Marc, o sea que no pasa nada.
Well, they're all tight together. Steven Pederhansel says much better, more enjoyable than yesterday's stage. Didn't make too many mistakes, didn't push too hard either, just had to take it nice and steady. No service trucks, and that means you've got to suffer if you have any kind of mechanical problem.
Donc il fallait quand même jouer la sécurité.
So no trucks today, they will be racing tomorrow. It's the boat ride overnight, and then it all gets underway. 252 kilometre special, longer than Sykes thought. We'll be there. Hope you can join us. My name's Carlton Kirby. Thanks for your company. We'll see you tomorrow.